Hello Twin Flames, this is Victoria and I'm here with your daily energy read. Welcome to my channel, whether you're new or you're coming back. I appreciate having you all guys here. And today it's going to be a classic read, so we'll be checking up on divine feminine energies, divine masculines, and the energy of the connection at this time with some guidance. I will do it a little bit differently. I will be using two tarot decks as always, but I'll be using one for the energy checks, another one for the advice or next steps. And of course, we'll pull some cards with messages between the twins. I'm gonna start with my deck of affirmations. This is the Spirit Junkie Oracle from Gabby Bernstein, and we'll get an affirmation card for the feminines first of all, and then for the masculines as like daily mantra or daily word of support. It's always, because they're positive affirmations, they're always reminding us about the beauty of this earthly experience and all the things we have to, at least one of the things we have to be, well, we should be grateful for, we should be appreciative of. That's an important part of the journey, but also something that nobody can take away from us. There we go, that's important, right? Okay, for the feminines we have, my happiness is a direct reflection of how quickly I can shift my perceptions from fear to love. Yes, and as Twin Flames, we are tested in this area even more than people are on average, right? Or we're feeling the effects stronger. It's almost like, especially with this drawing, for some reason it's reminding me of a roller coaster ride, you know, like the this kind of idea of like on different angles, right? And sometimes you're almost like going upside down. Or at some places you are actually. It depends on which amusement park it is. But yeah, we feel it stronger, I would say, that people generally do. And sometimes it's valid, like it's valid, really like crazy, right? Emotionally. Sometimes it's more about how we perceive it, because we're empaths, and the more we kind of cleanse our energy field and we heal and we get more in tune with the universe, with our higher power and with ourselves, the stronger we usually feel misalignments or times when fear takes over, right? It becomes an anomaly and something that hopefully and something that our body, our mind is not used to, right? And they're like in shock, like what's happening. It's like a red light, you know, like a siren working. So, but yeah, this is the skill, and that's one of the skills we develop with time as we reach mastery in this area. Is it doesn't mean that at a certain point in time we aren't going to get triggered at all, or we're not going to get into our fear response. We will, but that's part of the earthly experience as it is. But it's all about how quickly can you shift, and we can shift quickly, and we know it. And as long as we know it, we believe it, we do it, that's our reality, right? What do we have for the masculines? It's safe to slow down, relax, and let go. Yeah, I think we've been having this vibe in the readings this week, that divine masculines are asked not to rush into things and contemplate on what's been going on, do some analysis before necessarily taking the next action. And I even like the new moon here, because it's immediately reminding me about the new moon that we had just a few days ago on Tuesday with the solar eclipse, right? That was new moon in Scorpio. The solar eclipses happen on the new moon. So yeah, this is this, and although of course we were focusing a lot on what the solar eclipse meant for the energies from astrological point of view, we still cannot deny that this was a new moon that is asking us to set our intentions and to move towards our goals consciously through taking action, right? But it's not just about just taking action for the sake of it. It's about knowing where you want to go. That's what intention is, right? Knowing where you want to go, why you're taking this next step. What are you trying to achieve? Be mindful, right? That's mindfulness for you. So, and it's hard to just, I mean, I guess that's another kind of mastery that people can reach, but I would say this is like a very advanced level where this sort of contemplation becomes such an intricate, like such a crucial part of your life, and it's just implanted in everything you do in your daily life, in your daily practices, whatever you're doing, right? For a lot of us, we still need to set aside some time to it, right? That's what, and I talk about it on my blog, I talk about it in my videos, when I speak about certain topics on wellness and mindfulness. I keep saying this is a conscious practice, and this is something that you're building into your life, right? And not just because we don't necessarily have the knowledge. There's a lot of knowledge these days, but it's also not something that we've been brought up to do. It's still, at this time, as all the information we have, it's not as much of a tradition. It's not as widely spread. It's not as much talked about as it would be great to, for very different reasons, including commercial, political reasons, etc., etc. And as much as it may not seem like a thing, it is a thing, right? Because what we get, the information we're being fed publicly as a society, it has a lot of those agendas in mind, whether we like it or not. So if it's something not immediately bringing value from economical or political standpoint, it doesn't become as much mainstream as some other things, right? So yeah, this is, and especially when it's talking about your inner work, it's not really, unless we're talking about, I don't know, doing therapy or coaching for years, it might have economic value. But other than that, it's more, it's like you don't really need anything or anyone for it, right? It's your inner practice. It's your mindset, it's your lifestyle, right? It depends on you. It's actually even more about doing less than doing more, which is like counterintuitive in terms of economical value and, for example, trying to sell you more stuff, trying to make money off these practices. So it's not as widespread, and it means that you need your intrinsic motivation, you need your inner alignment to be able to build those habits and to follow them through. And a lot of us need to set aside time for it to make it a conscious practice where you're saying, okay, and actually, as we are, one of the events I was mentioning this week is Saturn going direct, right? It actually happened last week, right? No, it was this week, the 22nd. No, it was last week. Yeah, but anyway, just a few days ago, Saturn turned direct, right? And Saturn is one of the, it's definitely that energy that is asking us to be diligent with our best practices, with what gives us happiness, joy, health, wellness, right? To stick to it, to be consistent with it, right? It's important. And especially as you get started, and yeah, it looks like this is definitely a new cycle for divine masculines, and they are starting something new. It's important to slow down, relax, let go, forgive yourself for anything that you feel like you've done wrong in the previous cycle. Take your lessons and start anew with something that does make sense, that you believe in. Okay, let's get on. We're already at 9 minutes. My goodness, where does the time go? But anyway, I'm gonna go straight into divine feminine energy. So I'll use this deck for the energy checks. For the feminines, we have Six of Pentacles, beautiful. Judgment, wow. And Two of Swords. For the masculines energy, we have the Strength. I'm actually gonna move this a little bit so you guys get more of the table. We have the Strength. We have Six of Cups, beautiful. And the Ace of Wands. Right. Spiritual connection and getting enlightened through sexual passion too. It's very interesting actually. Bottom of the deck, Ace of Cups. Yes, unconditional love is a big topic with the twins this week. And more through telepathic connection. That's what I'm getting in communication, through the dreams, through thought process, through the 5D realm. It's all there, because I'm hearing there are a lot of topics still that that the twins are not as comfortable discussing with each other out loud, or you know, some topics are pretty straightforward and they should be discussed, but whoever has them on their mind doesn't want to kind of like stir the pot, you know, ruffle the feathers, so like, you know, rekindle certain topics of conflict, of pain, or like the big questions, like the elephant in the room that will need to be faced if those topics are brought up. That's why a lot of it remains unspoken, but it is energetically there, and there is an energetic exchange of that information between the twins. So for the next sections, we have Queen of Swords for the feminine, Death and Rebirth. Hello, Scorpio season. Happy birthday, Scorpios. And Seven of Pentacles. I have my ascendant sign in Scorpio, so it's pretty important sign for me as well. Okay, for the masculines, what are the next actions? Actually, these are all energies for the, like the advice for feminines are all connected with the new cycle. So yes, also very relevant of like getting balance and moving on with it. Here we have the Hierophant, the Three of Swords for the masculine, and the High Priestess. Bottom of the deck, Nine of Cups. Yeah, wish coming true. There is this, and especially with this card, like I see this person like dancing in this kind of euphoric, joyful state that I'm getting, that sometimes Nine of Cups can be about self-indulgence, or you know, like a more shadow aspect of it is about wishing for a lot of material wealth that you don't necessarily need. But in here, especially with this kind of imagery, I'm strongly getting this is about emotional fulfillment more than anything, right? Like I wanted to be able to like feel good about where I am in my life, or where I am with my family, or I wanted to be able to sleep through the night without that anxiety, without going over what I did and what I thought in my day, right? Like it's that sort of like resolution, that sort of happy ending, if you wish, to that cycle. So congratulations if it's relevant for you guys. It's really good. So let's see, for the connection, well, for the energy of divine feminine, we have Six of Pentacles, Judgment, and Two of Swords. Yeah, so there's definitely some new information, new downloads that are bringing in clarity on next steps. For a lot of you, it's going to be in mission or in career. For some of you, it's about relationships, but I'm not really getting it strongly. So I would say for most people, it's more about getting clarity on what to do next with your business, with your light work mission, with whatever it is that your main occupation is at this time. It's like, and with this, so the Two of Swords is the card about kind of like point of conflict and the crossroads. In here, like this card is pretty special with this regards, and I'm getting usually a very positive vibe with it, although there is a wolf in the back, which in this deck is like kind of all that antagonistic energy, right? But that's the wolf to me, that's that ego that's talking in the back of your head, right? Like trying to confuse you, or maybe creating some fear, as you can feel that there's something intimidating out there. But especially with the candle here up front, and with the flag that she's putting forward very confidently, I'm getting that it's like maybe a little bit of fear over there, and that's why there is like a pause, there's a stop. And remember, the card for divine feminine was about changing perception. So the feminine understands here that it's just about changing perception. There's nothing that they cannot overcome, that they cannot change around, right? It's this positive, enthusiastic outlook. because there is balance, because there is stability, there is foundation built. 6 is the first card that's kind of like about the public, going public with, you know, presenting yourself as whatever you have built, you have created of yourself, right? And you are doing that as you have worked on yourself, as you have done some inner work. And that's what I'm getting here, especially with the Judgment card. I mean, it's pretty intense actually. And I'm getting that the eclipse season is not even so much for the feminine about having to make changes. It's more about noticing the results of the work that has been done before. And then for the advice, we have 7 of Pentacles, Death and Rebirth, and Queen of Swords. So yeah, the divine is saying, yes, please make plans, plan ahead, but in this new energy, first of all, so allow for the death and rebirth, allow for the transformation. That's all you have to do, allow. Do not really need to work hard, but allow for it and include it into your planning, right? 7 of Pentacles, it's about planting the seeds and creating the roadmap and kind of thinking ahead, creating that blueprint, right? When you're creating the blueprint of your future, consider this transformation that you're going through. Maybe leave some space, right? Like create some placeholders, because you don't know everything yet, because the transformation is still work in progress item. It hasn't completed, so you don't really know where you're going to be, for example, by end of November or end of this year, right? But be very pragmatic and logical in this, right? So there still needs to be some structure, and at this time we're being asked to create it for ourselves. Okay, for the masculines, the energy is the Strength, the 6 of Cups, and the Ace of Wands. Yeah, so pretty much all of these cards are about the connection and about the strong physical attraction, sexual pull, right? But this is an interesting blend, and that's why I mentioned like the spiritual and the physical pull that the masculines are feeling towards their feminine. It's this big realization of how this strong sexual vibe that they're feeling towards someone, which I'm not saying that it's not special, but it's not something that they're feeling for the first time. We understand that, right? Like it happened to them before. They have been infatuated with the feminine. They have been, you know, other feminines, I mean. They have been in love. They have been in admiration of a feminine energy, of a feminine figure, right? Take it as an energy, that's why I'm emphasizing that, right? Gender is irrelevant here. It could be a male, but, you know, with feminine energy. So it's not like it's never happened before, this big turn on, being so much physically attracted. And I'm even getting this energy of like yearning for and longing for the feminine to be close, like to bring back that feeling of physical closeness that you cannot really reproduce when you're at a distance with your twin, right? There's this special energy that gets created when you're in close proximity to each other in the physical space. And that's what the masculines are missing, in a nutshell. That's what they're missing at this time. But it's much more than that. It's this big realization that this connection is so much more than just a physical attraction or just an interest in, like, you know, having just like the kindred soul, where it's a very close friend. You see these kids, like, they're being very friendly, they're playing together. It's not just about finding a kindred spirit that really understands you, that you are so interested in, and you know that, you know, you're finishing each other's sentences, basically. I'm not sure that you do, but it's that vibe, just to give you an idea, right? So they understand that this is more of a what they see as friendship, just like purely friendship connection. The sexual vibe is more of like, this is what they're used to having with the feminine energy, based, like, their previous relationships have been based around the sexual connection, the sexual vibe, even sexual tension for some. And this is the time when they realize that the feminine, the divine feminine, is actually all of these things. It doesn't have to be one or the other. That's what they're used to, that the person is either one or the other. And don't even get me started on the whole stereotype of feminine energies and the connection that they're able to create with the masculine energies, right? I don't know, all this BS with men are from Mars and women are from Venus and all this stereotyping, which we've gotten better at not dividing people that way, but we're still not very good at it either. And this is the masculine, this is this huge moment of realization, how important the feminine is for the DM in both of those regards. The advice here, yeah, so we have the broken heart, we have the feminine, we have the masculine, and that's very interesting actually, because the Hierophant and the High Priestess are considered a couple, right? This is the priestess, this is the priest, basically. So there is this divine couple here, and there is a heartbreak in the middle. This card was in the middle. So the masculines are asked to acknowledge this. I mean, it is actually a Three of Swords, but what I'm getting is that as much as this is a divine connection, it's out of this world, and by now masculines understand that it's not all about their choices. They have a free will to a certain extent, but there are some things where they just cannot help it. And yes, I know that, you know, and I'm getting this immediately, some DMs like talking, and like I tried to resist it, I tried to deny it, and I wanted to kind of, I wanted to persuade myself, to prove it to myself that it's my decision who I want to be with and who is my person and who isn't. But with time, through trial and error, multiple times, they've seen that it's not really like that. We don't really get to choose who is the one for us. I mean, we can choose who we want to be with, right? Who we choose to be with on a daily basis, who we want to build our life with. But we cannot choose who our heart finds to be that one person, the true love, right? And that's where they realize that, or, well, they realize the advice is to heal the heart, because there's been, like, this is the part that is sort of missing, or the part that is making it challenging oftentimes, right? Heart healing is required, even as much as this is a very out of this world connection, and it doesn't work through the same principles as the karmic connections do. The heart space remains relevant more than ever, right? Like, this is the time and this is the connection that will help it heal. And it's not gonna be easy, it's gonna be painful. Look at this person in pain, like screaming her lungs out. It's not gonna be easy, it's not for the faint-hearted. And yeah, the easy way out would be to kind of pretend like nothing is happening and live your life. But A, DMs have tried it, it didn't work. You still caught up with them. B, they're now seeing the beauty in this connection, and they have a different kind of motivation for like seeing it through and seeing it, like, wondering what's next, how is it gonna develop further, because they can see that there's dynamic, it's developing, it's getting bigger and better, right? But they are facing this reality now that in order to see more advanced chapters of this connection, they are supposed to do some work. So it's not just about them, at least not being stubborn and resisting. They also have their work to do. They have inner work to do. Okay, so that's the advice, healing the heart. Let's see what we have, what kind of messages we have from DMs to DFs. I'm not gonna do a lot of interpretation because it's quite a long reading already, but I'll leave it to you guys to interpret based on your situation. So DMs is saying you have so many choices and options, and I just dream and wish for everything. Beautiful. Notice 6 and 7 is 13, which is the number of transformation. That's the number of death card, actually. From feminines to masculines, we have 1 wand, and I need more time. Yeah, so a lot of sexual connection. And for feminines, because we function differently between the feminines and the masculines, of how we perceive love, how we feel it inside of us, all that stuff. It's actually drawing me back to this Ace of Cups. Like, that's how, like, through this emotional pull, the feminines get turned on, you know, sexually, through, like, within their body as well. But there's also, I need more time. This is to me, the energy of this. I figured out what my next steps are in mission, what I'm supposed to do next with this new information that I've got, with the transformation that's going on. So I need to take care of these things. I now can see how I can tie up some loose ends and what I need to do next with my, with my mission, with my career. Okay, I hope this has been good for you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. I love you all, and I'll be back with more readings very, very soon. Bye, everyone.